Yes,
terrifying. Like, what was that
terrifying.
like?
Absolutely terrifying. And then, I was never like a violent person. I mean, I had a lot of violence to me, and that was just frightening.
Yeah.
So it took a lot for me to sort of psychologically commit to that. I could physically do it, and that was good, but to sort of make that bridge from an abused person to
Yeah.
someone who deals in violence, that was a real tough transition for me, and it took actually years.
Mhm.
But yeah, I was so I started training. Within 6 months, I got invited to go to Japan and finish my
Wow.
training. So I went to Japan on parole, finished my training,
Yeah.
lived in the Japanese dojo,
Wow.
in Kanagawa-ku, which is outside of Shin, Yokohama. And, the weirdest thing is it was just like being in prison again, except for every day we're training like crazy. And there was a different group of people, and they all spoke
Yeah.
Japanese. And so it was this weird social, um, you know, transition that I went
Mm.
through. And then the fight, the fighting boss was, everyone, every time I asked somebody, they'd ask me in Japanese who I was fighting. And I would say Boss Root, and they'd all look at the ground. And I'd be like, why are
Yeah.
they
Oh
looking at the
no.
ground? And I was like, well, I know enough social cues to know like that's a bad sign.
Right.
So I could tell like he was a tough guy.
Yeah.
And I could tell like people didn't expect me to win.
Mm.
And so, all that was just kind of cooking inside of me
Of
when I
course.
went into that match. And, through good training and through just,
Mm.
the desire not to lose, I was able
Sure.
to beat him. And it
I
just launched my career. Like I instantly,
oh
I always say I was instantly famous in Japan, which,
yes. I mean, you must have been, and again, I'm just a fan on the peripheral, but you have such charisma, and you were that fight. I will include the link so everybody can check it out if they're not already familiar. But a star was born, like undoubtedly, and now like we have the benefit of the internet. I've had this at my fingertips. I used to have to trade tapes for stuff like
oh
this
yeah,
20 years ago.
VHS tape.
Yeah, it's third generation, all fuzzy, whatever. But man, it was like gold. Those things. But yeah, it's amazing, and it's amazing. Dude, now, I mean, maybe a silly question, but was there any security in that you were part of this lion's den? These other guys that have maybe more specifically that had been there before, or was it like, hey, you're on your own, like
Well,
don't mess up?
it was when I first went to Japan, I went alone. It was just me.
Oh,
It was
really?
me in the dojo alone, and it
Wow.
was, like nobody spoke English. It was just me and
Wow.
my roommate Ito-san. He spoke a little bit of English. So other than that, it was just kind of me and my thoughts. It was very much like being in prison,
I understand
and
now.
it was
Yes.
wild. Mango. She barks at the people outside.
Sure.
Official guard dog.
That's a good pup.
So yeah, it was. When I talk about it and I think about it,
Mhm.
it was almost worse than being in prison.
Well,
And I
I'm sure
say
you
that
weren't
because
treated
in
right.
prison you can talk to people, and there's people under like there's this communication, and but
Right.
there it was like there was this ticking time bomb of this fight, and then nobody spoke English, so I would take a bike down to the subway, and I would look for people that didn't look Japanese, and I would try to talk to them because I was so
Yeah.
starved for
Wow.
like communication and human
Wow.
interaction. But what it did do for me, similar to my prison experience, is it really allowed me to examine like what my commitment was and what I was doing, and sort of
Yeah.
what my intentions were, and
Mhm.
did I really want to do this. Well, by then it was too late. Like I'd already said yes.
Yeah.
So I kind of had to do it. So
Yes.
it really bred in me, and when I think about it now,
Mhm.
it bred in me that desire to figure things out and to accomplish things,
Mhm.
because I had this impossible task in this foreign land with all of this
Yes.
confusion. And that's one of those moments I look back to, and I'm like, if I can figure that out, I can figure out anything in my life. And so
Wow.
that's really helped mold me to who I am today.
That's amazing.